One of the most common patterns in an unhealthy or abusive relationship is one where he dismisses you, he scares you, he betrays you, neglects you, punishes you, humiliates you, whatever, does something awful. And then right after, he demands that things just go back to normal. He's not going to repair. You might get an apology, but it's going to be really fake, not normal, okay? This is the guy that wants the clean slate. He wants the affection back. He wants things to just be fine again.
Can't you just get over it? Babe, we just need a clean slate.
He wants his peace back. And you know what else he wants? Sex, right? He wants warmth back. He wants things to just be normal. He wants you to just stop being angry, even though he doesn't want to stop making you angry. What he wants is for you to stop bringing it up, stop ruining the day, stop living in the past.
Stop making everything so negative. Why do you always want to argue?
But this is where a lot of women get confused because in a healthy relationship, you really can't bring up the past repeatedly because you're not allowing repair. So it's relationship advice that people think is quite normal, right? Don't bring up the past. Don't keep harboring all these bad feelings about things that happened a long time ago. But how come a long time ago is yesterday when it's an abusive man? In any normal relationship dynamic, if somebody actually took accountability, told the truth, changed their behavior, made the repair, the relationship needs to move forward, okay? If somebody did something to you 5 years ago and you chose to stay and you decided to work through it and they have repented and repaired and taken accountability, you got to move on. Now, if you really can't get over something that they've done, even if it's not abuse, what I'm saying is if they cheated 5 years ago and you can't get past it, you are allowed to leave. You don't have to forgive someone, even if they took genuine accountability and really tried to repair. But that's not what we're talking about. In an abusive relationship or something that's just toxic or extremely emotionally unsafe, the past is not usually the past. Could be this morning, could be yesterday, could still be happening. I bet the past is going to happen this weekend. The past is the thing that he never wants to actually repair because repair requires accountability. And we know that abusive men really, really hate that. So it's not that they want repair. They want a reset. They want you to just push a button and say, can we just go back to normal, right? Because repair is like, what did I do? What did it cost you? What do I need to change? I understand. But in this video, I want to break down the difference between a repair and a reset and why emotionally abusive or immature men just demand this clean slate. I hear this word all the time, and how you're bringing up old shit is just a way to erase the pattern, erase his accountability, and why nothing changes when the relationship keeps resetting without him ever taking accountability. My name is Lisa Sonni. I'm a certified relationship coach. I'm the author of multiple books and the author of the Trauma Bond Recovery course. I teach women how to exit relationships with abusive and toxic men by helping them see exactly what these men are doing, how they benefit from it, and look at what these relationships are actually costing you. I help women rebuild and repair their relationship with themselves so that you can move on. Now, a reset, which is what these men want, it is not repair. That is the most important thing that you are going to hear in this video. A reset is when the relationship goes back to being normal, whatever that means, and you have not actually dealt with what he did. He acts nice again. And the thing is, there's a lot going on here about why women sort of fall into this trap, because when he acts nice again, when he touches your back in the kitchen or makes a joke, sends a nice text, and it feels like the fight is over, you feel relief. You feel this amazing like dopamine hit of it's over now, we're back to normal. And a man like this, abusive men, they make it so difficult. You're walking on eggshells. You're so nervous all the time. You're anxious and just all the time. So when he is kind again, you feel relief and that feels amazing. And then you don't even want to bring it up again because things are fine right now. And you don't want to be one of those women that picks fights for nothing, right? Aren't we past that? Why are you still bringing that up? That's my whole point. This little storm that he created passes. So now he's not being all rageful anymore. You're not being punished anymore, but it doesn't mean that it's repair. We just kind of swept it under the rug, right? That's the reset that they want. It's not actual safety coming back into the relationship, which is what repair would be. So maybe he yells at you at night and the next morning he's like, coffee? You want some coffee? And meanwhile, maybe the coffee felt like the apology, right? Oh, he's just not good with his words. You know, we're back to normal. Everything's fine. You want it to be fine because the alternative sucked. You're supposed to feel grateful that he's being nice to you again, but this is not a man who named what he did, took responsibility, has any care in the world about what this actually did to you. Nothing's changed. It's just a reset. And that acts like it's over, but it's not. In fact, it's going to happen again because there's no accountability. Now, why do these men all say the same thing, right? It's the past. Stop bringing up the past. Stop bringing up old shit. You never let anything go. You just want to be angry. You don't even want to be happy. We were having a good day and you had to go and ruin everything. We've all been with that man, right? We know that man. That man was my ex. That man is the ex of almost every woman I have ever spoken to. But do you see what those statements all do? Never talk about what he did. The issue is that you remembered. What audacity of you to remember what he did, right? He wants you to forget. The truth is, nobody can forget. You don't have amnesia. You can't just forget. He wants you to just STFU, stop bringing it up. That's it. Problem solved, right? No repair. That's the issue. Repeated patterns will keep happening because he acts like it's ancient history, but it's friggin' yesterday or a pattern that you're living in this moment. This guy wants the clean slate. That's why when so many men say this, my clients report this to me, right? He just wants us to have a fresh start. He just wants us to have a clean slate. Clean slate. That is used so often. It is easily the most common thing I hear when describing this pattern. He's got to have that clean slate. That is a push of a button that does nothing except ignore his behavior. So if you say, this is what happened last week, there you go, bringing up the past, right? It's you. If you would just get over the past, if you would just magically get over it, if you would just go to therapy and deal with your trauma, deal with why you're holding on to things, then we could actually be happy. If we break up, it's going to be your fault. I could literally have these arguments with myself because I know these men. I study these men. I know these men better than they know themselves. I know why they're doing this. They may not even understand why they're doing it, but what they know is that it's effective. They're not going to understand all the why, but what they know is that it shuts the conversation down, and that's exactly what they wanted. It literally protects him from accountability. And it sounds really nice. A clean slate sounds like such a good thing to have, very mature, right? We're going to move on. We're going to move forward. We're going to get over the past. Okay, let's do it. You can't. You cannot get over something that has never been repaired, and you definitely can't get over something that is happening in the present. That's the biggest issue. A clean slate with no accountability means he gets to still be the nice guy. He doesn't have to be accountable. He's got the good image. He's nice. He gets access to you again. He gets you making his dinner and bringing him coffee and all the things that you do for him. He also gets to avoid any shame for what he actually did. And everybody that's like, oh, shame is just a defense mechanism. Sometimes avoidance is, but often it's not. You look at people who are actually truly narcissistic, both high on the spectrum and or meet the criteria for the diagnosis. And I'm going to quote Dr. George Simon, amazing psychologist. He wrote In Sheep's Clothing. He wrote Character Disturbance. Phenomenal. He talks about narcissism and shame. And he was like, shame, they're shameless. That is so key because one of the most popular things you hear about someone who's narcissistic is it's a shame-based disorder and that they're just avoiding shame. Bull crap. The whole point of the clean slate is that he gets to avoid changing. So it's a reset, but there's no evidence of change. There's possibly no promise of change. Now, perhaps the clean slate comes with, fine, I'm sorry, let's move on. But again, sorry for what? What exactly happened? What's the pattern? Do you understand what this is doing to me? No. Shush, right? STFU. That's all they want. Repair would actually mean he needs to be honest or humble in some way. It needs changed behavior. He doesn't want changed behavior. He wants you to push the button. So when a man says to you, can we just have a good night? What he really means is, can you just stop having feelings about what I did because I don't want to deal with it? These are the guys that are like, I just want peace. What I hear is, I just want your silence and I don't want to take accountability. That's what that is. A clean slate is him not taking accountability. And that's exactly the point. He wants you to tolerate the status quo, but don't complain. Don't do that, right? You women always nagging and complaining. It's crazy. Can we just move on? It doesn't mean, can we heal? It doesn't, not in an abusive relationship. I don't pick on the language, right? A man that says, can we move on, might want to move on, But if he's like, okay, now let's talk about how to move on, let's repair, I'll take accountability, whatever. No, he means really stop making this uncomfortable for me. You keep talking about what I did and I don't like that. I'm going to keep doing it. That's really what he's saying to you. He wants the relationship to continue as is. Now, there will always be some man whining in my comment section like, that's not true. Or my favorite, what about when women go to another channel, beat it, kick rocks? Not this channel. That's not what we talk about here. Abusive men want the relationship to continue exactly as it is. They're just not going to say that. They deny it. They can deny it all day. They do it all the time. They do it in the relationship as much as they do it in comment sections. But the point is, you're going to see the same avoidance, the same disrespect, the same neglect, the same power dynamic, the same pattern. And it's going to cost you the same thing every single time. You're not moving forward. You just want the status quo. And that is not working for you. You don't need to be nice and quiet and grateful and not bring up the damage that he's done to you. He wants you to not talk about the pattern, because if you're not talking about it, then he thinks it's safe for him. He can just keep doing it. Now, what this cycle really ultimately does to women is it makes them start to accept the calm as some kind of closure in the relationship. So the argument is over, it's closed because he's calm now, but that's not repair. So when you take the standard of what repair is, and I mean, there's an actual definition of repair, and I've already said it, but they want you to kind of like lower the bar, put that bar right in hell. The standard for repair is right down there. You want accountability and you want him to understand and apologize and change. Duh, that's repair. But after enough conflict with him, after the rage and the punishment and the defensiveness and all of the coldness, the cruelty that might come from him, you just want it over. So when he's calm, you're like, and you feel relief. Now, he might stay a little bit calm for a few days, and then you start thinking, oh, progress. Okay, all right, this is good. He touches you, things are good. Okay, cool. There's been no repair because you were hurt and he got angry that you were hurt. And that's really all that happened, right? He got angry. And then when things calmed for him, it's been enough time, hours, days, whatever, we go back to, he's going to do it again. There's an expression that I have a love-hate relationship with, which is nothing changes if nothing changes. But nothing changes because nothing's being faced. What would change? This is why the pattern repeats and the relationship just resets, but the pattern is just going to go in circles because he will never sit with the impact of what he did. He's never going to actually tell the truth. He never has to understand what it did to you, how it hurt you, how it's affected you or impacted you. Never. He's not going to change the behavior. Of course it happens again. But he promised he wouldn't. He wouldn't what? He promised he wouldn't what? He wouldn't cheat again? But does he understand what it did to you? Does he understand? So I don't really believe in forgiving people fundamentally. Now, an affair is probably a whole separate topic on its own, but an abuser having affairs, an abuser being abusive, those are things that are patterns. It doesn't change. You're typically not upset about one incident. Women don't have one incident and they just fly off the handle and they're furious. There is an accumulation of pissed offness in receiving all of this abuse. And it's because nothing gets repaired, nothing changes. And then you're mad, righteously so, because he wants this clean slate and this blank page every time, right? Every time he does something bad, just flip the page, blank slate. Here you go. Nothing ever happened before this, right? We already talked about this. Talking isn't repair. I already apologized when half the time they didn't, but also apologized without change. That's not meaningful. That's just part of the pattern. He fake apologizes. You forgive him out of desperation. You forgive him because you want the relief. And then it happens again. Rinse and repeat. But this is why real repair has a definition and has requirements. You have to name the difference. It's not, he's not mad anymore. That's ridiculous. It's not just, okay, well, he's nice now. No, truth, accountability, impact, changed behavior, consequences, safety. Safety is something that people don't talk about enough in abusive relationships or in any relationship. You need to feel safe. I wish that in healthy relationships, people would even talk about what safety feels like more in healthy relationships, because then you'd have a contrast. Nobody thinks about not feeling safe unless you're talking about physical safety. People can relate to that all day long, but emotional safety, people don't get, not as easily. Real repair means he's going to say what he did, and it's not going to be after you standing there peppering him, making him name it and standing over him. You know what I mean? Like when you feel like you have to practically drag it out of him, and it's like,
I did repair.
If you have to basically nag it out of him, Still not repair. It needs to be something freely given. Change is also something that people have to want for themselves. So they have to first see that they are causing a problem in this dynamic and then willfully make that change by taking accountability. But they don't want to do that. Typically, that's not on the table. So when you are bringing up an issue and he calls it the past, I want you to ask yourself, was it actually repaired? Because you would feel differently if it was repaired. Is he taking responsibility for what he did? Is he being specific with what he did? Can he name it? And one question I think is really important one, and Lundy Bancroft names this in his work, and especially in his book, Why Does He Do That? Naming it as abuse. So many men will say, yeah, that was bad, but they won't address the pattern and they won't see the abusiveness or the entitlement that's coming with it. And that's on purpose. So really watch for fake repair. Abusive men tend not to accept the consequences. Now, sometimes the consequences is that you're upset for days or weeks, that you are not interested in sex the way you used to be, or that you want to break up with him. And they don't accept that either. So if they're not accepting the consequence of what they did, no repair. It's the same pattern repeating itself over and over. Picture a clean slate, like a chalkboard, and one of those erasers, and just right across it. It's just erase the past instead of let's learn from the pattern, let's learn from the history, let's talk about what needs to change for the future. Repair needs truth. And if he only wants repair, if he only wants you to have this clean slate and reset so that you stop reacting and you stop saying what he did out loud, this man is an abuser. Subscribe if you're not already for more content like this. And if you're stuck in a relationship where things just constantly reset and replay and happen again and nothing ever changes, this is exactly the kind of relationship patterns that I help women get out of. You can work with me one-on-one or join any of my group coaching programs. I also have an online community called She Rises Collective, where these amazing women gather every week. And inside the Flourish level, you can find weekly drop-in group coaching sessions that are live, that I will be there and facilitating them, along with my co-host, Shelly Pumphrey. We also have guest speakers and really detailed workshops, tutorials, and education, as well as 24/7 support. So you can join us inside She Rises Collective at the Flourish level. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.